Now, here's a quick one about a wife and mother who's throwing a big crybaby fest, looking for a whole lot of pity after she discovered after she had had a whole year-long affair. A year-long affair because her husband, in her opinion, was working too much. He was busting his tail at a tech company that had a big IPO. They made a lot of money. So she had an affair because he wasn't there. Well, guess what? He found out, and now she found out that he is now having an affair himself. And to make it even worse, it's with a really good-looking 21-year-old girl. And while two wrongs don't make a right, and that ain't cool that he was cheating and he should have divorced her, still, really? She's that upset because he's doing the same thing she did to him? And is wondering if it's fixable. But of course you all know the answer to that one. Title, Can I Even Fix This? She says, I had an emotional and physical affair for about 1 year. Well, obviously it was emotional as well, aside from physical. There were many contributing factors at the time. I was a housewife, my kids were getting ready to leave for college, and my husband was working 100 plus hours a week at a tech startup. Then the company he worked for did the IPO, and he had much more time to spend with me. And he found it via my recently deleted text messages. This was about 3 years ago. The guy's busting his tail 100 hours a week or more. Tech company, they had the IPO, obviously had his stock options, made a lot of dough. And yeah, okay, she was lonely. I get that. That sure. And the kids are going off to school and the whole life's turning around. But that doesn't mean you have an affair. You talk to your guy and husband and you communicate in words he understands, not hints, about you're unhappy and try things, not cheat on the guy for a freaking year. We went to couples therapy, but it didn't help very much. Well, no shit. He broke his heart. My husband told me he needs some space. He's always had an avoidant attachment, and I figured it was a good thing. He ended up buying a place in New York. We live on the West Coast, but did not go very often. This was 2 years ago. I've tried everything. Couples yoga. That's you're trying to win back the affection of your husband by going to couples yoga. If there's any reason for him to expedite a divorce, it's couples yoga. Weekend getaways, baking, cooking for him. Doing everything to show him what a complete idiot I was. That it was my brokenness and my damage and not him. We have 2 amazing kids together, and before the affair, even with the heavy workload, life, I would not trade for anything. Well, he was nuts not to divorce you right then and there. The kids are off to college. At least they're out of the house. No child support. He should have ended it with you. Done. You know, for so many reasons. About 6 months ago, things got weird. We haven't had SCX in about 3 years, but he was still physically affectionate. This dwindled and has since died. They haven't hooked up in 3 years. What do they hold on to at this point? He also started going to New York, the New York place more often, and while he never explicitly told me not to go, it was very clear it was his place. So he goes to NY for a little longer period than usual, and I decided to surprise him. Yes, honestly, I was suspicious, but I also genuinely missed him and wanted to see him. Bullshit, she was suspicious. She was a cheater for a year. She knows all the signs. Come on. She wanted to see. Everyone knows where this story is going. I got to his condo, knock on the door, and some girl answers. Honestly, my first thought was, is this one of my daughter's friends? That's until she says, oh, to her, come on in. Turns around and calls my husband's name into the condo. She has this tiny, silky nightgown on, and she said my name. Her hands flew up to her neck, where she was wearing his and our wedding ring on a necklace. He's banging this freaking gal that's like the age of his daughter, and she's got a necklace with their wedding ring on it. Ooh. I look around the condo. There are photos of them everywhere. Then an open letter on the counter makes my stomach turn, saying, Happy 21st, now you can actually drink with the rest of us. Signed, one of his friends he has talked about in NY. I assume this is why he's gone for longer. Her birthday. For context, our daughter is 22 and I'm 51. So, we can all laugh and say, well, she's 21, she can drink, and he's banging a younger chick and it drives her crazy. But I have a code, and I simply could not, if I had children and I had a daughter who was 20 years old, 21, would not be hooking up with chicks like her age. I mean, come on. Obviously, it's for the body and probably to piss off his wife. But if she was like 25, okay, or 24, but around the same age as the daughter, that's just fucked up to me. I know I'm going to get a lot of shit about that, but that's my code. That's who I am. Okay. And that was the salt in the wound to the wife. Everything that happened next is a blur. She goes in the other room and they talk. I couldn't hear specifics. In hindsight, it almost felt planned. She left with a backpack and he comes out to talk to me. I start yelling at him and left in an emotional rage. He tried to talk me down, not in a she doesn't matter to me type of way, like I did when he found out that we should talk about this type of way. It didn't work. I'm writing from a hotel room now, still deeply angry, and after a few Googles, found this subreddit. I don't know if I can forgive him. There are so many missing puzzle pieces here. How long have they been together? Do they live together? They seem so from the pictures. At the same time, there's a part of me that feels we are even now, absolved of guilt. Maybe that will make it easier to move forward together. Do you guys think this is fixable? No, it's not fixable. It's over. It's dead in the water. It's been dead in the water. Now, he should have just divorced you and ended it. Now, maybe he waited till the kids were fully out of the house and in college, which it sounded like they were anyway when he found out. But he should have ended it and moved on. So, nobody can blame him for being upset. Nobody can blame him for wanting to get even with her. But just to save all the drama, he should have divorced her. Because now what's going to happen is the wife can go tell his kids that he was cheating on me. And I don't know if the kids know that she was cheating on him, but it's just going to create a very ugly situation. And this is only going to hurt him in the divorce and hurt him with the kids. So he'd been better off just divorcing her, and then he can go bang all the young gals in the 20s all he wanted. I still say he shouldn't be banging a chick she was 20 when he was banging her, and she recently turned 21. I mean, that's fucked. I mean, come on, at least make it that they can drink legally, for goodness sake. And the girl's around his daughter's age. But anyhow... But now he's got a shitstorm to deal with. But with regards to being pissed off about this, hello, lady, you did the same thing to him. And yeah, he was working all the time and you felt lonely. And that's understandable, he felt lonely. But did you really put in the same effort to fix things? Like the couples therapy and baking for him then? Probably not. Why didn't you do that back then when you were lonely instead of having a year-long affair? So, although this is not the right way to handle it, she's gotten some, gotten some he got some payback here. So now this is obviously over. There's no fixing this, and they had to break up and move on. That's what I think. So that'd be an entertaining one to go over here saying like, hey, karma, she got what she put out in this world, and yeah, it sucks. Now a few comments here, real quick. One guy says, first of all, how many excuses are you going to make for having a year-long affair while your husband was trying to better your lives? Sounds like you effed around and found out. Actions have consequences. Right. He didn't handle it the way I would handle it, but yeah, she is dealing with the consequences. Another one, you haven't had sex together in 3 years. I'm sorry, I can't get past that and don't see how fixable this is. If you had sex with another man, and now he's had sex with another woman, but you haven't had sex with each other, don't know how that can work. And last one, absolved of guilt, heck no, that is the wrong way to think. If you didn't have the affair first, do you really think you'd be in this place? You broke his connection and trust in you, and that is why he ended up having an affair. If you're going to move forward, you cannot minimize your contribution as to why you both stepped out of the marriage. All right. Yeah, he's in the wrong here, but what about you? I'm not hearing her much talking more about that, and going to couples therapy going to couples yoga isn't going to fix what she did here. Come on here. But anyhow, there you go, guys. So I wish this guy the best, but they got to part ways. There's a point that it's just you cut ties and move on. But these people think it can work afterwards, and you have to keep trying to get even with each other. It's just a big fucking mess. And it'd be interesting to see what she has to say to the kids. That could really jeopardize his relationship with the kids, all because of him trying to get some revenge. Hopefully we can learn from this.